Now, here in the United States, the countdown to the country's midterm elections is on, with high-stakes races set to take place on November the 8th. They will determine the future for Congress and therefore for the Biden administration. Early voting is already underway in several states. On Monday, President Biden expressed confidence that things will turn in favour of the Democrats in the last fortnight of the campaign. But Republicans continue to assail Biden's policies for high US inflation and increases in crime, seeking to make the midterm race a referendum on his presidency. In Philadelphia, 2 weeks before the midterms, people cast their ballots in secured boxes. The city has installed mail ballot drop boxes with fire extinguishers mounted on them and cameras around them to monitor the conduct of the election.
Since 2020, we've had to take a more integral look at security, both physical security and the security process. You know, elections are, there's a lot of redundancy in the process, so, you know, people should be rest assured that voting is safe, it's free and fair, and it's totally legit.
Meanwhile, 2 weeks ahead of the midterms, Republicans up and down the ballot are embracing defeated President Donald Trump's entirely false claim that the 2020 election was stolen. The Washington-based Brookings Institution has identified 249 of these so-called election deniers running in the 567 races for the House, Senate and key statewide offices. Meanwhile, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, a presidential hopeful in 2024 on the Republican side, refused to say whether he would commit to serving a full 4-year term if he is re-elected as the Sunshine State's governor. In a heated Florida gubernatorial televised debate, DeSantis called his opponent, Congressman Charlie Crist, a worn-out old donkey.
Well, listen, I know that Charlie's interested in talking about 2024 and Joe Biden, but I just want to make things very, very clear. The only worn-out old donkey I'm looking to put out to pasture is Charlie Crist. I'm proud of our history. I don't want to teach kids to hate our country. I don't want to teach kids to hate each other. And the way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race.
Crist attacked DeSantis on the law he signed in April banning abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy.
I would like to see everybody have a shot. I'm proud of the 15 weeks that we did.
Up for grabs in the elections, the entire House of Representatives and 1/3 of the seats in the US Senate. Currently, the Senate is split 50-50 between the two main parties, with Democrats in charge due to Vice President Kamala Harris's casting vote. If Republicans flip even one Democrat-held seat and hold on to all their others, they will gain the power they need to change President Joe Biden's agenda and halt it in its tracks. For more on all of this, I'm joined today by WION's North America correspondent Susan Tehrani. She is live for us in New York. Susan, bring us up to date with the latest polling, because there has, in many polls, been some quite grim reading for President Biden and the Democrats, but there are others that suggest that Democrats may have some reason to dream that this isn't going to be quite as bad a midterm cycle as many of them some months ago had feared.
Absolutely. And you know how it is with polls. We won't know until November 8th and election night, and then some, perhaps. But, you know, what's interesting is that the Democrats really banked on this message of abortion. And while it had some heat and some prospects of voter enthusiasm during the summer, what we're seeing with inflation and with the economy time and again, people going to the grocery stores, really having a hard time catching up with their bills and paying their bills, we're seeing that abortion really is not at the forefront. But President Biden himself and a lot of Democrats continue to really try to push the message of abortion on the whole of America, when for many Americans, it's really clear to see that that's not a priority. And that's what we're seeing in poll after poll. abortion is not polling. What is polling right now is inflation, the economy, and also crime. I mean, crime is really something that's really up there in these final weeks, and we're seeing that not only in a lot of red states, here in blue states. I mean, New York crime has been at the forefront to an extent where something unimaginable has happened in the governor's race, where we have the Republican contender Lee Zeldin almost in a tie with current governor Kathy Hochul. This is an extremely blue state, but because of the issue of crime, you know, we see them neck and neck. Tonight, there is going to be a very much hyped debate between the two. And then we also have to take a look at what's happening in Pennsylvania as well. Another debate that's perhaps really like a boxing match that everyone is going to be watching is going to be between John Fetterman, a Senate candidate, Democrat, who just recently had a stroke, with his Republican contender, Dr. Oz, a TV doctor. And, you know, that's something that many are watching as well. The issue of crime in Pennsylvania also really at the forefront as well. Crime, inflation, but for some reason the Democrats, you know, obviously they can't run on anything regarding the economy, so they're hammering on abortion. I mean, that's definitely going to cost them.
And Susan, can we just briefly postulate one possible outcome here, that the Democrats somehow managed to hold on to control of the Senate, but they lose control of the House of Representatives to the Republicans? If the Republicans take over in the House, but not the Senate, how hobbled will President Biden be?
Yeah, you know, President Biden, these races, the midterms, are ultimately a referendum on the president. And we're seeing that the president is polling extremely low across the board. This is really not only regarding the House and the Senate, but ultimately it's for the future of, and the remaining future of, President Biden's legislative agenda. So President Biden is going to be in trouble. Democrats are going to be in trouble. But I think it's also important to note regarding whether or not the Democrats continue to hold the House or not, is to what extent? How close are these numbers ultimately? How close are these votes? And I think that'll paint a better picture on where America stands. I mean, if the numbers are extremely close, then, you know, it'll really paint a picture on, you know, where the Democrats need to adjust, and also the Republicans as well.
Susan Tehrani, live for us on the streets of New York, WION's US correspondent. Thanks a lot.